everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Lots About Something podcast. This is the podcast where we, the Lots, always talk about something, and we don't always know exactly what it's going to be, but it's going to be hopefully fun and entertaining and enjoyable. So thank you so much for joining us, hanging out with us a little bit. However you're listening or watching the podcast, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Google Podcast, man, we appreciate so much you being here. I am one half of your hosting team today. My name is Chris, and I am married, of course, to my lovely co-host and bride, Christy. How are you doing today, Christy?
Doing good.
Doing good. Christy, this is the first podcast of 2023. Can you believe it?
No, it's exciting.
Are you used? All right, so this is only day one. I mean, so we're literally recording this New Year's Day. Are you already prepared to start writing the date 2023? Like, how long do you think it'll take for you to get used to that?
I don't write dates a whole lot, so I don't think it'll be, that hard for me to remember.
Yeah, so you don't do a whole lot of writing.
As far as the dates go.
What do you think you write the most? Like if you have to write something, what do you write the most of? Because in all honesty, I don't do a ton of writing myself.
I don't know. I write excuses a lot for Emma when she's out of school.
Yeah, we do write school excuses a good bit. I was going to think, I still write a handwritten budget.
Yeah.
And so I actually did that a couple days ago. That was probably the last significant thing I wrote.
I wrote the Christmas list down by hand.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people use the phones.
Yeah.
But I am better if I write it down 2 or 3 times.
I do think that there is value in writing things. Like for me, when I write it and then transfer it digitally, it helps me to remember things better. So like our budget, for example, is something I wrote the other day. I write that on hand and then I input it into our EveryDollar app. Mm-hmm. And so I'd actually do it. I do it 2 times, and that way it kind of helps me to remember to do that. So, but in theory, I mean, in general, other than that, maybe a couple of things here and there at work, but most everything that I do is digital.
It's typed.
Yeah.
It's the way the world runs right now.
I actually had a goal several years ago to go more paperless. And so I actually, that's what I did a couple years ago. So at our office, I've tried to substantially cut down paper because you're trying to cut out cost.
Mm-hmm. So I don't write a whole lot.
Yeah, I don't either. Well, happy 2023 to you, Christina.
Happy New Year to you.
Hey, if you're watching on Spotify right now, we're rocking our merch, our Lots About Something podcast. Last week we talked about those. Our Lots About Something podcast mugs. And so out here drinking coffee on the podcast with our mug.
There's real coffee in it. You know how some people on TV shows, people don't actually eat or drink.
No. I don't know if you can see that.
There's real stuff in here, folks. It holds the stuff.
Let me say something about coffee really quick. I think I have become very particular in the way I drink my coffee. When I am at home, there's only one kind of creamer that I want. Mm-hmm. I want peppermint mocha. Let me a second. I lost it in my mind for a second. I want peppermint mocha. Now, the stores often are out of this. It must be very popular.
I don't know why. I don't like it.
It's delicious.
It used to be where you couldn't only find it. You could only find it around the holidays.
Yeah.
But now
it's year long.
Now they're like, oh, we make some money on some peppermint mocha.
It's probably because of me, because I buy it all year long.
I don't think it's just because of you, because they have a hard time keeping it in the store.
They do have a hard time keeping it in the store, but I'm a fan of it. And we've tried different coffee creamers this week, and because I was off of work, so we tried, that's not the reason, but they didn't have it at the store. And so we tried some other versions, and my coffee this week has not been great. But this cup of coffee, we're back with the peppermint mocha. It was in stock yesterday. We picked it up. No belt boy gave it to us.
I missed No Belt Boy because I had to go in Kroger because they said they didn't have something. So I had to go in there to make sure they weren't lying to me.
I'm just saying, this is a good cup of coffee. Peppermint mocha back in the cup. Lots About Something merch. Doing the podcast with you. It's a good day. It's a good start to the new year.
We're doing good.
Doing good.
We are doing good.
Doing good. Well, hey, let's jump into our first segment here. This is a segment that we do every week. It's just called What's New, and we talk about what's new, what's been happening with us over the last couple of weeks last week since we did the podcast last. Christy, do you have anything new? Anything you want to share or talk about?
I have sad news.
You have sad news in What's New?
I do.
Okay.
I've already taken down all my Christmas stuff.
You did, and I was actually very surprised about that.
You know, I normally leave it up way after the new year, sometimes towards the end of January, when I wanted it to take down. But
I remember having to ask you before, are we going to take the Christmas stuff down? And you have said eventually. But the other day, we were just sitting there. We were actually in the middle of watching TV. And you just got up in the middle of watching TV and you started taking all the Christmas stuff down. I said, what are you doing? You said, I'm taking the Christmas stuff down. I said, you don't want to finish the TV show? And you're like, we'll do it later.
I'm at the stage of my life when I feel like doing something, I got to do it then.
And I don't think that's a bad thing.
I felt like, it's time to take them down. I got the energy to do it. And so I did it. All of it, everything. Then it carried on. Then Lily wanted to take her stuff down. Then Emma wanted to take her stuff down. So we just cleaned the whole house.
It does feel good. I don't know if you agree with this, but it does feel good to not have all of that up going into the new year.
I miss it, though. I need to find me a tree, a house tree.
Yeah.
To light it glow.
We used to have a tree that had Christmas lights on it.
Oh, my goodness. That's a long time ago.
Oh, was it? It feels like it was just yesterday.
No. But I need a house tree with lights on it, I think, to set up in a corner somewhere because the glow of lights make me happy.
You even took down the Halloween lights, which turned into Christmas lights that were in the kitchen.
Some of them.
We still have some?
Yeah, I thought I was going to leave them up till they quit working.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go. So that is sad news for you. For me, I think it's a victory. I count that as a win in our home.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's what's new with me. That's what I did this week.
Okay. What else? You think of anything else?
Well, I did something you and Emma were having conniption fits about.
Okay.
Since the holiday break, I have been informed that I could care less if anyone ate in the house.
This is true. Okay, this is a discussion that we need to have. So this is true.
I broke down and I went and did grocery pickup yesterday.
I will say for the last 2 weeks, you have not cared about if anyone ate or not.
No,
you didn't plan a meal. You didn't think about a meal. And if anybody else said to you, hey, what are we doing for dinner? What are we doing for lunch? You would say, go ask your dad. Like you have been on a break for 2 weeks.
It's not a break.
From cooking, preparing meals, thinking about meals, 100%.
I've been trying to teach y'all how to cook some. Especially when y'all are home.
I cooked some pizza rolls the other day. Yeah,
that's food.
Well,
the girls have been heating in some microwavable meals. I've made sure that was in the house. But you're on break. Mamas need a break too, and so I braked myself from cooking. I made sure stuff was in the house.
Not only did you break yourself from cooking, you took a break from caring. You were like, I don't care if anybody eats. I don't care what's going on. Don't talk to me about it.
I felt like I just needed a break. Okay. Mamas need a break from some things sometimes, and Daddy was home, and I thought, let's let Daddy think about dinner sometimes.
I don't think that's a good job for dads, because here's why. We end up going out to eat and spending more money when you are not in control of the menu.
I can't explain it. Over the holidays, when I have big meals to cook, my main focus is the big meal. And so at Christmas, I thought we're working on up to the big meal, so I didn't really think about.
But there were other meals leading up to that. I didn't really
budget food out for the rest of the week, except for the Christmas meal.
You didn't budget it. You didn't think about it. You didn't plan. I'm telling you, Listen.
I can't tell you how many times y'all are like, Mama just don't care if we don't eat, Dad.
Listen, podcast. Talking about Christy not giving a rip, she didn't care at all.
They'd say, what's for lunch? I don't know. Go ask your daddy. Mom, are you going to the grocery store?
So for that reason alone, I'm glad that this break is coming to an end.
Yeah, it's time to get back into normal things.
Are you ready? Are you ready to get back into like a normal routine, normal schedule?
I think I'm ready for work to happen.
You ready for me to go back to work? Okay.
I think I'm ready for school to happen. You know, I'm ready. I'm very routinal and very structured. So break takes me out of all of that, you know?
Would you say that over the last week, there have been moments where we've gotten on each other's nerves?
You and I?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think so too.
That's just being true and honest.
Yeah, we definitely have had moments where we've gotten on each other's nerves. And so for that reason, I don't know that I would say I'm super ready to go back to work, but I'm not necessarily sad about it.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because I'm hoping when I come home, there will be a meal prepared.
Well, I went grocery shopping, so there'll be food.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, I'm sure there's some moms out there that are shaking their heads. Yeah, why can't the dads help sometimes get the dinner?
It's not that dads can't help. Number one, I'm very limited in what my cooking
That's
skills
why I'm
are.
giving you cooking instructions.
You're not giving me cooking.
You told me you could cook pizza, you could cook spaghetti, you could cook macaroni.
All right, here's the things I can cook. I can cook eggs. That's probably my number one.
I mean,
I can cook spaghetti. You taught me how to cook spaghetti. I could probably cook spaghetti. Mm-hmm. Other than that, if it doesn't go in the air fryer, I can't cook it.
And y'all, I made sure there was food for the air fryer so you could cook it. Correct?
No, that is incorrect.
That's the truth, guys. There's pizza rolls, corn dogs.
So, yeah, I'm glad that
nuggets.
glad that we're getting back onto the regular
I've also
routine.
been working on my temper this week.
You've had a temper?
No, but last podcast I lost my temper and threw clothes on the floor. So
yes, you did.
I have worked on that a little bit this week.
All right. Have you felt the urge at some point this week to throw things on the floor?
I felt it yesterday.
Did you? That's surprising. I had no idea.
My sister and them came and got the chair that had all the clothes.
Oh my gosh.
The clothes on it.
The same. All right.
So
for the record, it's the same set of clothes that you threw on the floor last time that I put in the chair.
And so we'll talk about this for just a second.
Oh, I can't wait.
So my brother-in-law come and got the chair. And so I said, what are you going to do with the clothes? And you said, well, I'm going to put them on the bed and I'm going to hang them up. I was like, no, you're not. There's no way that you're going to hang these clothes today. I just know it. So, but I kept my cool. I walked away because I didn't want them on the bed. But they stayed on the bed till we got home last night.
Yeah.
And what did I do? I come back in here and asked you what?
You said, do you want me to put these clothes on the floor?
I said, are you going to do anything with these clothes tonight? Oh, honestly, I forgot about these clothes. So they've sat on the bed all day.
Yeah.
And instead of just picking them up and throwing them on the floor, I asked you. I kept my composure.
Yeah.
I didn't lose my temper. And I picked up the clothes and I laid them on the floor.
So in our 20-something years of marriage, how often have you wanted to throw stuff on the floor, or is this internal rage new? Like, is this a new rage that you're battling, or is this a?
It's because you put them on the bed.
Okay. So,
and my comfort place, our place I like to go sit and relax, where no one's at, is on the bed. A made up bed that I make up.
Yeah.
And so when your heavy pile of clothes is on the bed, I can't fold the cover up. I can't get cozy. Why? Because I'm looking at a big pile of clothes. And so that is my frustration.
So clothes on the bed causes an internal rage inside of you.
No, it just makes me mad.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, I did forget to put those up. I told you that I would. But I kept getting distracted yesterday. I was very distracted yesterday.
Oh, you were starting. What, doing what?
Well, I spoke at church today, and so I was working on the sermon, the message to speak, and then we had in the middle of that, we had to go get groceries, and then while we were out, we picked up dinner, so we came and ate dinner, so I started working my message again. Then we had to go pick up Emma because she went off with Lily to a New Year's thing, and then she didn't want to stay, and so she wanted us to come get her, so we come back. Then I get work on my message again, and then it's New Year's, and so I stopped doing that. It was just ongoing and just a distracting day.
And that's why the clothes are still
That's
on the bed?
why the clothes.
I'll just say I had what's the word?
So you didn't have any confidence that I was going to do that?
No confidence at all that those clothes were going to get hung up yesterday.
All right.
So they're on the floor today.
They are still on the floor. That is true. That is true. Maybe today will be the day. How do you feel? What are the chances that today's the day that those clothes get off the floor?
Not happening.
Okay.
I'm sure it's not happening.
All right. Well, Christy, I wanted to mention a couple of things. I was actually reading an interesting article the other day. Actually, I mentioned getting ready for my message, and I'd looked at some information I was going to use inside of the message, and then I ended up not going. I went a different direction. But in the middle of trying to decide that, I was researching some information, looking at articles. You know, I'm good at looking at articles. So I found a couple of things that I thought was interesting, and I decided, since I didn't use them in my message, that I would talk about them on the podcast and get your opinion. I want you to react. So this article is from Lifehack, and they oftentimes talk about gadgets and gizmos and those kind of things. And this is 20 things. So these are 20 products that have been redesigned to help make life easier or better. Okay. So essentially that's what that is. And you can find this on lifehack.org. These 20 redesigned everyday products will greatly improve your life. They probably need to rename that article, but here we are. I can't read all 20, but I wanted to just mention a couple that I thought were really interesting. The first one is this: a washable keyboard. So it's a keyboard that if something spills on it, you can just take that keyboard and go wash it off with water. What do you think about that?
I guess if you're messy,
so
you can do that.
I'll tell you why this resonates with me specifically. The last week that I was in the office before the Christmas break, I spilled coffee on my computer twice. 2 times.
And it still works?
It worked. Yes. As far as I know, it still works.
Well, that's
It was
good.
2 different computers. Right now, I'm working out of 2 offices. I work out of one office to do one part of the job, and then I work in another office to handle the finances and those kind of stuff. So it wasn't the same computer, but I spilled on the keyboard in the finance office one day, and then the very next day I spilled it on my laptop in my office.
Yeah, you better be careful.
Yeah. So this resonates with me. I thought this was a good idea. What about this one? This is a toilet and a sink combination. So essentially, what this is doing is the water that's in the back of your toilet also you use it as a sink. And so it's meant to save space inside of a bathroom.
You sure the water running from the sink isn't running into the toilet?
Yeah. I mean, essentially the sink is the water resource for the sink is coming out of where the back of the toilet is. Uh-huh. And so it's a combination of sink and cistern.
Probably saving water.
Maybe. And maybe saving space. Do you think that you would ever want to... All right. How dire of a situation would you ever have to be in to drink water from a toilet? Can you think of a situation to me, that sounds terrible.
I mean, I guess if I was real thirsty, I would, as long as it was clean.
Yeah. I don't even know that I like the idea of washing my hands from the toilet.
Well, I mean, I guess
Brushing your teeth?
if the toilet was clean. If we depended on other people to clean the toilet, then that'd be dirty all the time.
Now, granted, it is coming from the back of the toilet, but still, I don't know that I want to brush my teeth.
I watched a thing the other day that said you have to clean the back of your toilet out.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? What was the reason?
They just said you had to. It gets yucky and moldy and stuff.
Okay, and maybe that's what those little blue things are. Never tell you about the time that the mystery of why all of the toilet water at the church was blue. Never tell you that. So we had a guy. He was kind of a hired hand that we used at the church. He was very kind. He was very handy. He helped us out a lot, and we trusted him to the level that he would come in and work. We'd hire him to work on projects. He worked another job, and so oftentimes he'd come in at night and work on different projects at night. It's very trusted, great guy, and he always did really good work for us. So I don't know what happened, but one day in an effort to help, he put those blue tablets in all of the toilets all over the church. And so we came to church like the next Sunday and all of the water was blue and nobody knew why. Nobody knew why the water was blue, and everybody kept asking, why is the water blue? I don't know. It ended up staining the toilets, and it was a whole thing. So I don't know. I don't know why I thought about that, but
one of our girls used to be scared to go to the bathroom if the water was a different color.
Really, I get that.
I think it was Emma.
I used to love it. It seems like when I was a kid, there were a few occasions where we had those like water changing color tablets. I loved it. I don't know.
Yeah, she used to wouldn't go to the bathroom if the water wasn't clear.
Okay. All right. Here's another one. This one maybe was the most interesting to me. It's an edible coffee cup. So it's like a pastry that you pour coffee in, and then you can eat the pastry after you've drinking your coffee. What seems backwards to me, because it seems like I'd want to finish the pastry first and then have the last sip of coffee.
Yeah, I don't think I'd like that.
No? I guess it depends on how good the cup was. Like if it was a good... Do you remember the time? We still have it, I think, when I bought the little spoon molds. My idea was that I was going to give out Christmas gifts. I'd seen it somewhere. It was supposed to be
white chocolate
or chocolate
chunks.
Spoon molds, and then I was going to give people hot chocolate, and I was going to put it in a bag and give it to people, and I never did it. But I have the spoon molds. So if you need some spoon molds, holla at your boy. All right, here's a couple. There's one more thing I wanted to show you. Oh, they did a redesign on the ice cream scoop.
Okay.
That's probably helpful, because honestly, the ice cream scoops sometimes are very pointless. So, here was the other one I wanted to show you. This has got a video. I won't show it to you, but essentially someone created a technology inside of a trash can that when you throw trash at it, the trash can moves to catch it. So as long as it's in the vicinity of where you're throwing the trash can will move and go and get it.
You think that's cool?
I think that's amazing. That's dope. So anyway, the other one that I thought was really interesting on here was they are working on a transparent screen for cell phones and tablets. And the reason for this is so that when people are walking and texting, they have a better chance of seeing where they're going. They can see through the screen and see what's in front of them, because evidently there's been a large amount of people running into walls, or even like into like not ponds, but like at the mall when there's like water fountains and stuff, people will walk into the water fountains.
Why can't people just put their phones down when they're walking?
I mean, this seems like a better solution, don't you think?
Do you text and walk?
I can't say that I haven't ever done that.
You text and drive?
Never. Because that's not safe, Christy. We actually just put something on our phones that if you pick up your phone while you're driving, it'll
make our insurance go up.
It doesn't make our insurance go up, but we don't get a discount. And we're trying to cut
You better tell
money.
Lily that.
Well, she hadn't installed it on her phone yet, but I
You
will.
better not do that either.
I never do that.
I don't believe that. You better keep the phone down.
All right. Anyway, well, it is New Year's, and New Year's is a time for resolutions, and we talked about that a little bit last year, what resolutions would be. And so, again, in preparation for my message, I didn't use this. I had a bunch of things that I'd kind of contemplated talking about during the message today, and I didn't, which is good because I thought we could use them for the podcast. I found an article. I'm not familiar with this guy. His name's James Clear, but it's actually a blog post that he wrote that I thought was pretty good. So I don't know much about him, but I thought the blog post that he wrote was pretty decent. It's a pretty decent blog post. And he just makes this statement. He said, depending on where you get your numbers, somewhere between 81 and 92% of resolutions that we make fail. And so some of that is because we make unrealistic resolutions. Some of it is because we do things that sound good, but we don't have any why behind it. They're just what's and not whys. But he gives 5 reasons that sometimes resolutions fail or don't succeed.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready for this? The first one is this: trying to change everything all at once. And so one reason that people's resolutions fail is because they try to do everything all at one time. They try to just change everything all at once. So all of a sudden you're going to eat healthy and save money and go to the gym and go to church, and you're going to do all of these things all at the same time. It's just too much.
I agree.
It's just too much. And so his solution is pick one thing and focus on it. Just pick one thing. Really dive into one thing. Now, does that mean that you can't cover several things? No, but what's the one thing right now that you can focus on? Let's work through it, and then we can adjust something else. What do you like? You kind of got a smile. What are you thinking?
You're going to think I'm silly.
Okay. I'm not.
So when you're talking about this, you're talking about for the whole year.
Yeah.
I got to talk about that just for the one day.
Okay.
Like yesterday, I would have gotten completely overwhelmed doing all the baskets of laundry in the laundry room. But I focused on one basket. That was the sock basket.
Yeah.
Because y'all told me y'all couldn't find socks, and our sock situation was horrendous.
Yes, that is true.
So I focused on trying to match all these socks.
Yeah.
And a lot of socks got thrown in the trash can, never to be seen again, because I couldn't find the matches.
I don't have a problem with that.
Nope.
If they don't have a partner, they need to get gone. That's only true of socks, not people. Just to clarify.
So I just sit here thinking, that happens in everyday life for me. Just to focus on one thing. If I tried to focus on like doing a whole bunch of stuff at one time, I'd have a nervous breakdown every day. So
yeah, I think it's a good strategy. I think it's something like if you have that's good for resolutions. It's good for things that you have on your to-do list.
Oh, for sure.
One of the things that Pastor Chad, he was one of the first pastors that I ever worked for. One of the things that he taught us in setting up our day was make a list of everything that you have to do. Make a list of everything and then label it. A, B, and C. A is the most important things that you have to do. B is second most important things. C is everything else. So of all the things that got the letter A, then decide which one of those letter A things need to go first. So there's an A1, and then there's an A2, A3, and there's a B1, B2, B3. All right. So then when you start your day, you've already decided what order you need to tackle things. Because a lot of times if you've got a lot of things to do, you'll sit down and think, oh, God, I got so much to do. I don't know what to focus on. Right. But if you'll label it A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, then when you sit down, you know A1 is what needs to be tackled first.
It's also a good steak sauce, too.
It is a great steak sauce. It is a great steak sauce.
Sorry.
I do like a Heinz 57, too, just saying.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
You kept saying A1. I was like, that's a good Get on.
It is a good steak sauce.
French fries.
So you do A1. When A1's done, you do A2. When A2's done, you do A3. When all the A's are done, then you go to B. Well, whatever you don't get done that day, that means the B's move up to A. And then what C's need to come up to be a B, or now maybe a C is an A, and every day you just redecide that. And so, so I think it's a good planning strategy. All right, here's the second thing that James Clear says is wrong with our resolutions, why they don't succeed, is we start with a habit that's too big. Mm-hmm. We start with just too big a habit. Like, let's just say someone decided, I'm going to read the Bible this year. Well, that sounds great, but the Bible's a lot. So why don't we start with, I'm going to just read the Bible today, or I'm going to lose 100 pounds. That sounds great. 100 pounds is a lot. Mm-hmm. What can you do today? What is it what choices can you make today? And so essentially you're just trying to readjust or reevaluate. Yeah, I've got this big thing I want to accomplish. What are the little pieces that I can choose to help accomplish this big thing? One thing that we often forget is that little things accumulate to big things. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we give up because we don't see big things happening. But if we'll just do little things over and over and over and over again, accumulate to big things. Like the socks. The little things accumulate.
Okay.
Are you liking this?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Number 3, seek a result, not a ritual. And this to me, I think, is really important. And I mentioned this earlier. This comes down to, why is it that you're doing this? Why is it that you want to lose weight? If it's just about weight, then you would in all fairness, if it was just about weight, we would already all be skinny. But there's got to be a why that drives action. So what is your why? Is it you want to be healthy? You want to be around for your family? That why helps to dictate what you're trying to do. And so when you forget, or the what doesn't seem like is worth it, that's when you focus on the why. All right? Mm-hmm. All right. Next thing is this. People oftentimes want to change, but they don't want to change their environment. And the environment that you put yourself in is very important. It's essential for real change to happen. And so it's difficult to quit drinking if you're around people that drink all the time. Mm-hmm. It's difficult to stop smoking if you're around people that smoke all the time. It's difficult to quit cussing if you're around people that cuss all the time. Mm-hmm. And so you've got to change your environment. If you always buy Little Debbie cakes and they're filled, your Little Debbie cakes are filled in your pantry, it's going to be really difficult to not eat those Little Debbie cakes. Mm-hmm. And so you've got to change your environment, change the things around you. And then the last thing is this, I thought was really good. Where's the last one? Oh, here it is. Assume small changes don't add up. And we actually talked about this just a second ago. Just work on small things. Just do the little things. So if you've got resolutions out there, don't, attack them one day at a time. Have the big goal, but what is it that you can do today to accomplish that? And then don't give up. Just keep on going. Keep doing little things over and over and over again. And I think that you can see some results from that. Yeah,
I think too, Wesley has said before, starting habits, if you do it 21 days every day, it can become a new habit. So if you can just stick to what you're wanting to do in at least 21 days to a month, then you have a better chance of doing it the whole year. The problem is people give up halfway through because it's either too hard, it's not quick enough for them because we live in a fast food mentality. So just stick with it at least a month to see if you see any results, or that if you're doing what you really want to do. I think that's a great point, is that we do oftentimes walk away from things because they take too long.
And that's why people love the air fryer, because you get good food quicker.
You know,
People love the microwave because you get okay food quicker, but it's okay. It's food.
You know, I don't know. I was going to say something about the air fryer.
No, go ahead.
I had seen where there could be bad things in that the air fryer is made out of that could not be good for us.
Really?
Like a chemical or something.
What's that chemical?
I don't remember.
Okay. All right.
You know, I can't believe everything you see on Reels, but I was thinking, is this true? This may not be healthy for us. And look at all the air fryers people are buying. But anyway, that's totally off subject.
I mean, I think if what was good for people limited what people bought, there would be a lot of things that people didn't buy. Probably sodas, cigarettes, cake. You know what I mean? Like, there'd be a lot of stuff if everything was just about what is good for us. We probably would have a lot less things to buy.
Since we're talking about stuff that's eating, I think we're done with the article.
Yeah.
We did start off our new year with something that we do each new year, and I'm sure people out there may do that, is that we ate collard greens and black-eyed peas to start the year off.
We did, and they were really good.
We do that on New Year's Day. I'm sure people have different things that they do for different holidays, but ours was collards and black-eyed peas and corn fritters.
Yeah, they were delicious.
And it was a great meal.
It was really
for
good.
the day. So,
it was
if
really
y'all got
good.
any, what do you call it? What do you call it that you do for a day?
New Year's Day traditions?
Yeah, a tradition. I couldn't think of it. I was saying a ritual, but it's not a ritual. A
What,
tradition.
do you have any New Year's Day things like? Have you ever heard like don't leave dishes in your sink
I've heard don't wash laundry
on New Year's Day?
or have wet towels on New Year's Day.
Okay, why is that?
I've heard that someone may die in your family.
What? Because of wet towels?
Something about wet clothes.
Oh
You're
my
washing
gosh.
away something. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not washing clothes.
Stephen, our youth pastor at the church, was talking today something about putting coins out and there being dew on them.
Yeah, I haven't never
And I
heard
was
that.
like, he was like, have you never heard of this? I was like, no.
But I have heard of collard greens and
That's
black-eyed
the only
peas.
thing that I know about for New Year's is you should eat black-eyed peas and collard greens. But yeah, there's a whole lot more other little traditions and things that people have
believe.
that I ain't never heard of. Leaving coins out and dew getting on them, and then the dishes in the sink, and evidently if you got towels, people dying. Woo!
I guarantee you
That's
we could look it up. We should have done that as the article
Man, we
today
should
of
have.
New Year's traditions.
We
but
should have.
That would have been interesting. So.
Anyway, well, very good. Well, Christy, do you have any? You have a wow for us today?
Yes, for us parents out there today.
Okay, all right.
I got to pull it up.
Something for the parents, you say?
Yep. Got to give me a second.
All right.
All right. This is for us parents since it's January the 1st of 2023. Point your kids in the right direction, and when they're old, they won't be lost.
Yeah.
So mamas and daddies, let's point our kids in the right direction and have what better scripture to have for the first day of the new year than us helping parents parent their kids, you know?
Sure.
And that's in Proverbs 22, verse 6. Let's see what the NIV says. Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it.
Yeah.
So I just thought that would be a great little scripture today, bringing the wow, words of wisdom for the parents out there. Keep on keeping on and pointing them in the right direction, and when they get old, they won't turn from it. So
Yeah.
thought it was a good little thing for the day.
Well, very good. All right. Well, guys, that about wraps up our podcast for today. Let me just say thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you for being here. However you're listening or even watching. If you're watching, hi, it's me waving. I'm waving at the people watching. If you're listening, I'm also waving at you, but you just can't see it. Say thank you so much, whether you're watching, listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Man, we appreciate so much you hanging out with us. We'd love to hear from you. You can contact us on Instagram. That's really the best place to do that. Christy Lots, spelled just like the podcast name. And man, we'd love it if you shoot us a message or leave a message on leave a comment or something on one of our posts. We'd just love to hear from you. I'd love to know that you stopped by. Hear any comments or questions. Maybe there's a topic you'd love to hear about. We want to hear from you.
I did see on Spotify, I don't know if it's something new or who would even see it, but at the bottom when you watch it, it's got questions and answers or something, and you can leave a question or response to what you just listened to on the Spotify podcast.
Okay, so that's when you watch it?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But I don't know who sees it, like if it's coming to us.
I don't know.
Or going to Spotify.
Why don't somebody leave us something and we'll see what happens. We'll see if we get it.
I thought about leaving it myself.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. See if we get it.
Just to see. So anyway.
All right. Well, very good. Well, hey, we love you. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast, and really does mean a lot to us. We hope that you have a wonderful new year, you and your family. We wish you well. And, man, we're looking forward to being a part of it with you. All right? And until next time.
See ya.
Bye, guys. Y'all have a great one.